So what did the judge do then to assure, the jurors' safety, y'all's safety, everything else when you're trying this case?
So the first couple of things that he did, the jury summonses went out via email. The responses were fielded via email. All of the hardship questions were concerning COVID and everything else were handled before the panelists were examined, before voir dire. And in handling all of the COVID-related hardship issues, we pretty much took care of all of that. And I mean, I think that you've probably been on the same plaintiff's attorney email chains I have. We knew that the jurors who are not afraid of COVID are our most dangerous jurors, and the jurors who are there, even though they don't want to be, are our second most dangerous jurors. So when we got the responses of the questionnaires back, and we knew who the COVID hardships were, the judge, in order to safeguard the safety of the panelists, the judge said, well, y'all have any issues of letting this go? And I was looking at the list, and I was immediately half the panel. And at that moment, I said, no. Let him, Your Honor, no. Defense counsels, they also agreed, no objection. So immediately, the judge, taking care of the safety of the panelists, allowed us to also take care of our biggest concerns. So then I was already a head start.
Were you worried because the jury summons were by email that, you weren't going to have because it sounds like you got a conservative jury pool. Now, I know you're in Seattle anyway, but there are people out there that don't have email that might be good jurors or don't have ready access to computers, that it was going to change the demographics of your potential jury pool.
Yeah, and it did, because the response wasn't great. The response to emails wasn't great. You didn't get everybody that you would typically see in a King County jury. Instead, you got people who had means, and you had people who were always on the computer and engaged with technology. And anybody who's done any jury research knows those are people who are probably a little more conservative.
Yeah.
So yeah, that did play. But when you have a client who's going to die if you don't try this case now, I mean, you just kind of do the best you can.
Yeah. And that's what I've realized when, as we're sitting here without a clear end date, that we may just have to try cases the best we can with the best panel we can get. So how did y'all do the jury selection? Was it in person, by Zoom? How was that done? Both.
And that's to how we did it and the techniques we used. So there were a total of 6 panels. 4 Zoom panels of 8, 1 Zoom panel of 6, and 2 live, who were live because they had issues concerning Zoom and security.
Okay.
Personal issues, which I understand. I mean, that's reasonable these days. So we had 2 shows live, and you could tell the difference. Having done 6 panels over the course of 2 days, you could really tell the difference that it made. I mean,
how was that?
So when you're looking like you and I talking right now, I mean, it's wonderful. We're simpatico, we're on the same side, and we're trying to help. But when you don't know anyone or anything about that person other than what's been on a piece of paper, you don't have that same connection.
Right.
So not being able to be present and observe that person and have that person observe you, it's difficult because we as trial lawyers work so much on our nonverbal gesturing and physical presence that for us, it's an incredible advantage if we've done the work over defense counsel who's never gone to trial lawyers college, who's never gone to Sard Lamont, who's never worked with Jesse Wilson,
Yeah.
So I felt that I connected much more strongly with the live panelists.